Welcome to volatile weather. It's trench coat season. All of a sudden I became a trench coat converter, courtesy of the huge variations out there. But there is a caveat. It has to be modern. So today I'm gonna break down all the key factors that make a trench coat modern, and most importantly, how to style it. First thing to consider when looking for a trench coat is the shape. A traditional trench is double-breast, which is fine, but in a time when everything is oversized and shoes are chunky, the outfit can get a little bit out of proportion. What many people do is to buy trench coats that are too fitted. So if you prefer one with more silhouette to it, I suggest cinching at the waist and playing with how you wear the collar and the sleeves. And you want to style it with straight leg pants to balance out the proportions, like I'm doing here. But honestly, this is not my personal preference. As any outwear, they look better slightly eased and relaxed rather than too snug. What I'm suggesting basically is something in between. This one is good reference. It's not exactly a traditional one, plus I got it 2 sizes larger so I can have more options. Because basically you want something light enough to be able to layer, therefore it needs to have the right amount of roominess. Also light enough to wear into the summer, but not too light for over a sweater. Okay, so let's dive in on what makes a trench coat modern. Stylistically speaking, the ideal is for the coat to be versatile enough to pair with a range of dresses, long, mid, short, bermudas, short shorts, jeans, etc. I offer something long when I'm thinking in these terms, especially given that I mostly wear straight leg pants, as they are less competing silhouettes. In a traditional trench, the collar should be clean and detached from the lapel. That's what you're looking for. A collar that you can button all the way up, which is a note that makes sense if your preference is a double-breast coat. I won't go too hard on length of coat recommendation because it really depends on your body shape and personal preference. But as a rule of thumb, shorter coats are better for wider leg, mid-rise pants. But if you are mostly in straight or skinny pants or short things like dresses, skirts, shorts, I'd suggest something longer. A more versatile version should go below the knee and further away from the ankle than the hemline is to your knee, but not too close to the knee either. Your pants are definitely longer than the coat, but your Bermuda shorts are shorter. If you are a petite or just aren't a long coat lover, you might want to go for a cropped version, which is super trendy at the moment. And here I have 2 options for you. A khaki one, which is more like a cape, and a rich brown one. However, because they can look too boxy, you might want to size it down. When it comes to sleeves, you want something unfussy and not too long. Too much fabric is annoying and unflattering. But if you get it oversized, there's not much you can do about it except for perhaps altering the sleeve or tying it with an elastic band or simply doing what I'm doing here. My general preference is no sleeve flap at all. You know that strap that buttons over the end of the sleeve, also known as a sleeve loop? The original trench coat was rendered in cotton gabardine, which basically means tightly wound cotton, but there are so many variations out there. When you are after something more special, the whimsy brought forward in something like this glossy faux leather one or this satin one yields a look that's still functional but does encourage more festive dressing. Any neutral like beige, khaki, navy, and chocolate brown are versatile and classic, but don't limit yourself. Today there's lots of colors to choose from, so pick one that you truly love and you're sure you're gonna wear a lot. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and hit that subscription button if you haven't already done so. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I share a lot of tips on a regular basis. How to style it? There are a few ways that I particularly like to style it. One of the most classic ways to do it is to have a neutral base look underneath, like a turtleneck and jeans. Usually either in gray or navy or black, and it's always a foolproof and timeless look. One of my favorite ways is to layer it over a suit for an unexpected chic result. But definitely a double denim one would actually look particularly great with this range. But here is a more incremented, lighter version. Something like this looks good too. Also, I like to style a trench coat over spring dressing. One that is less likely to join you into the summer is a weighty cotton that reads almost like denim. It's stiff enough to really cloak you, but still fluid. And here I gently nudge you towards a shade that reads dark brown for maximum spring color pairing efficacy, because it adds like a top coat, either grounding a look comprised of many different, sometimes whimsical fabrics, or tying everything together if there are different colors at play. It takes in colors so beautifully. Lastly, don't forget to accessorize it. Trenches normally have a super serious connotation. Therefore, adding accessories to lighten them up, like bright bags, scarves, and shoes, really make them more fun and stylish. The sky's the limit to style it. So in sum, which is the best one? I'll include some links in the description box below. I have a final few considerations. What's non-negotiable about a trench coat in 2025 is that it should be absolutely oversized. The more oversized, the better. It was already established, but it's worth repeating. If you're not a big fan of an oversized fit, I would say get at least one size up and you're all set. Another point that I can't stress enough when looking for a trench is the length. So we'll go back to the length point that I talked about earlier. But obviously, ultimately, you have to know what works best for you. I can only speak generally. Consider a vintage one. It doesn't have to be a Burberry, but a nice one from a good vintage store is the easiest way to find exactly what you're looking for, without having to overthink all the details we went through here, like fit, length, color, and quality. Consider what goes underneath too. It's important to consider what goes underneath depending on the fabrication of your coat. Lighter versions require something that isn't too heavy, so the look doesn't get weird and uncomfortable. Styles that work best to complement a trench are normally more fitted ones, like t-shirts, straight leg jeans, light knits, etc. Alright, that concludes this edit of the breakdown. Let me know what your thoughts are on this one. I'm planning to do a series of videos where I break down some key items. Let me know if this is something you'd like to watch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Ciao, ciao, everyone.